Good morning, runners. I am currently at Fleet Feet Sports in Chicago, and Daddy needs a new pair of shoes. My shoes are shot, so I'm putting myself in more risk not getting a new pair of shoes. That's why today I'm going to go to Fleet Feet and we're going to get fitted for shoes. So come join me.
Welcome to Fleet Feet.
Hi, can you help me get a new pair of shoes?
Absolutely. That's always a good step. It's actually a really good thing that you bring in the shoes that you're running in. Are these the ones that you currently run
Yes.
in? All right.
Now tell me why it's important to always get a new pair of shoes.
Well, it's always good to get a new pair of shoes because the foam, the cushioning mechanism of your shoe is actually designed to wear out. That's actually how it cushions you. And over time, all the little tiny bubbles in there that cushion your each stride, they actually start to pop and they burst. And then soon you won't have any left.
Okay.
And what's left is actually the cartilage in your knees and your hip flexors that absorb all that shock when the shoe goes away. All right, John, so when we're looking at your shoe, not a whole lot can be told from it, but some of the main aspects we want to look at. The biggest thing is a lot of people think that they can actually tell whether a shoe's broken down or worn out by the condition of the shoe, which is really, really hard to do. But what we do want to look at is the wear pattern on the bottom. Normal wear pattern, we want to see it right down through the center of the shoe. If it's wearing too much to one side, either the medial or lateral side of the shoe will indicate whether somebody is overstabilized or understabilized. And we'll go over what the stabilization does for you. But as we look at your shoe, you are right down the center, so it looks like you're in a pretty good shoe here. But just to be sure, we're going to double check by looking at some measurements and also, once again, looking at you running, and in motion. We also look inside to make sure that, you're not rubbing anything, rubbing the material down too far. It shows that it's a good fit. Good fit is very key, because if the shoe's too big, you're going to be moving around a lot inside of it, and it, chances are it won't support you the same way. And on the contrary, if it's too tight, we'll also be able to tell that too, because there'll be bulging marks on the shoes themselves from where your foot's trying to expand the shoe and adjust it. Let's take a couple measurements with your foot without a sock on. If you please, let's start out with your left foot. Let's put it up there, and it's important to have your knee bent for me. So what I want to do is have your foot positioned just over a little bit. Perfect. All right. So the first measurement here, so what size are you seeing? Just about an 8, right?
Yeah.
All right. So this is what we call the unweighted measurement. This is your foot prior to impact, all right? That's mimicking your foot in the air before you hit. What I'm going to do is have you stand up, and I'm going to remeasure you again to look at how that changes once you do impact the ground. That change will be indicative of how much stability you actually need in a pair of running shoes. All right, John, what I want you to do now is bend your knee forward for me. All right, so now you see how you're coming over just over an 8.5. So you have just over a half size of the expansion or elongation of the foot. If we take a look at this foot, we'll notice that these joints right here on the medial side of the foot are actually very, very flexible. So what you just saw happen is you put pressure on your foot and bent your knee forward, the metatarsal joint and the subtalar joint start to open up. And what that does is it causes your foot to expand. So just imagine your foot doing this inside the shoe, time and time again in a marathon. Here is our diagnostic shoe. This is actually part of the easier part of the process, is actually analyzing the gait and knowing what you're doing. The hard part comes from once we do understand what you do, match your foot and the way you strike the ground with one of the 85 shoes we carry. The reason why we have to carry so many shoes is that everybody's so much different. And that's really difficult, is understanding how those shoes equate to the way you strike the ground and matching them perfectly. This is the Way of Precision. It's a lightweight, hyper-flexible shoe designed to accentuate the way you run. So if you're over-pronating, which means you roll too far to the inside once you impact the ground, it'll be very easy to notice. Now, on the contrary, if you ride on the outside of your foot and hit the ground and roll out there, you're supinating. So there's a shoe for that as well. This shoe, however, will actually just make it really obvious to the person fitting you which is the way you run. This is you running. We just recorded you in slow motion. So as we watch each foot strike the ground, it's important to see how the shoe is manipulated. And as you can see here, you're actually rolling past center. So this left foot's going to roll clockwise, and you see the ankle dip in a little bit. The right foot's going to roll counterclockwise, and you'll see that ankle dip in again. That's very indicative of an overpronator. That's what we call someone who pronates past center and pronates too much. So we want to get you in a nice, stable shoe that stops you from pronating that much, supports you and actually exits all that force right out the front of the shoe rather than through the arch and ankle. All right, John, so what we have here is several choices for you. And what we'll do is we'll put these different shoes on and make sure that they have the right stability for you, but you have the tough job. You have to figure out which one's most comfortable. You're looking for a shoe.
Not by color?
Not by color, not by style, but by comfort. You want the shoe that absolutely disappears off your foot. Whichever one feels less obtrusive, which one doesn't, you know, maybe isn't pinching you as much as another one is, just the one that kind of floats your foot, makes it all disappear. Why don't you go ahead and slide these on for me, and we'll put you back on the treadmill and check it out. What I want you to do is stand up. I'm going to check the size and make sure the size is appropriate. What we're looking for is about a thumb length and a half a thumbnail length of size, and we're getting that. And the reason for that, you're running pretty long distance, and the longer you run, the more your feet are going to swell. If you don't give them that enough room, what'll end up happening is you'll impact the end of the shoe, you'll fill up all of the volume, and that's when you start to blister, get black and blue toenails, and calluses can develop. These are shoe comparisons. That's the first shoe you were in on the left, and now the new shoe on the right. Same manufacturer, just one has more stability, and you can tell the stability based on how much straighter your foot is. Look at the angle your ankle's on here versus over here. Now you can see if you ran a marathon like that, you know that'd be uncomfortable. Running a marathon much straighter, all in line, you're gonna do better, you're gonna run more efficient, chances are you're gonna run faster, but most importantly, you're gonna run injury-free.
Alright folks, I tried on both pairs and it looks like I'm going to stick with the one I've been running for two reasons. One is I actually feel at home in this pair versus the one over here that I tried on.
Alright John, so you now see and understand the entire fit process. What's important to us is that you're in the best shoe possible. More than anything, good luck on that race. We hope to see you guys soon.
Alright folks, got my new pairs of shoes. Gonna go for a quick run and break them in and get them all ready for the marathon, which is in 9 days. I'll see you guys next time.